I mean, personally, I want to make sure that we have a best-in-class finance organization and that we can compare it not only across chemicals, but industrials and any other sector. And anybody from the outside can say, LYB is really going through a positive transformation, and finance is a key enabler and a world-class organization. And for that, as I mentioned before, developing our talents, having the right tools, and being closely aligned with our strategy will be key. I'm married. My wife is from El Salvador. We actually met in New York City working at a bank. We have two little kids, 9-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy. They keep us very active, so third grade and kindergarten. And
I'm sure.
Family, we love to explore, and we do the normal things, soccer and karate and taekwondo and swim. So it's
You're very busy in what little free time you probably have.
All roles give you different skills, whether it's learning about the industry or having the people management or having ownership for a P&L and living with the consequences of your decisions. That is very important. So just, be open, be curious, and just go for the roles. Every little assignment will give you something for your tool belt.
Welcome into the LYB podcast. I'm your host, Deepi Sidhu, Content and Social Media Manager for LYB. And we've got a great guest today, Agustin Izquierdo, the new Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer here at LYB. We're going to be discussing Agustin's background, LYB financial strategy moving forward, and maybe even get some career advice. So first of all, welcome in, Agustin. Congratulations on the new role.
Thank you very much, Deepi. I'm very happy to be here.
All right, so let's talk about your career journey a bit. You've worked in a lot of different places, a lot of different companies. So give us the overview of your career journey and what really led you to this point.
Thank you for the question. I'm originally from Mexico. That's where I grew up. And I started my career in investment banking. And I thought that would be a great platform to learn, about many industries, have an accelerated learning curve, and it actually did deliver that. So I started in Mexico, then moved to New York, later Argentina, and I was covering all of Latin America, doing the usual investment banking activities, I would say, corporate finance, M&A. Then I left the bank, did my MBA because I wanted to learn more about just business topics, and came back to the bank actually for 3 more years in a different area, capital markets. So we help companies raise money. But I always had that little bug about learning more about marketing and strategy and operations and being a bit more rounded professional. So I joined the chemical industry. I was with a German company called BASF, and I stayed there for roughly 13 years. And it was a great experience because I had the ability to be working on strategy projects. I ran a couple of businesses. I also was on the finance and strategy roles for the Catalyst division. And now at LYB, I joined November of 22, so a little bit over 2 years ago. And again, I've had the chance to have an interesting career, first joining the I&D segment. Then for the past year, I've been running OMP Americas, and now, as of March 1st, became the CFO of LYB. So I think having this wide variety of experiences, having run a business, seeing how other industries work, and just being intensely curious has really helped my career.
And along the way, I know you've lived in a lot of different places. You've moved around a lot. Along the way, you had some kids.
Indeed.
You have a family as well. Tell us a
Yes.
little bit about your family.
I'm married. My wife is from El Salvador. We actually met in New York City working at a bank. We have 2 little kids, 9-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy. They keep us very active, so third grade and kindergarten.
I'm sure.
Family, we love to explore, and we do the normal things, soccer and karate and taekwondo and swim. So it's
You're
fun.
very busy
Indeed.
in what little free time you probably have. So tell us some of the key milestones in your career that you think really helped prepare you for this new role here as CFO.
I think, as I mentioned before, taking the risks of just moving to a different country. As I said, I'm originally from Mexico, so moving to New York first when I joined the bank was a big one. Then moving to Argentina, leaving the bank, honestly, to do my MBA. I had to leave the bank position, I would say, before even knowing if you're accepted into the MBA. So taking that risk, trusting yourself, and then really stepping out of your comfort zone. It was tough to be running a business the first time. Every business has its own unique characteristics, but also being a people manager, it's difficult. Sort of being on the spotlight is difficult. I'd say just taking roles that make you or push you out of your comfort zone. It's really what has helped me. And if they're all roles give you different skills, whether it's learning about the industry or having the people management or having ownership for a P&L and living with the consequences of your decisions, that is very important. So just, be open, be curious, and go for the roles. Every little assignment will give you something for your tool belt.
Yeah, and to build on that, your previous roles, how do you think that shaped your personal approach to leadership or financial strategy?
I think, having run a business gives you that extra ownership and I'll say empathy with the business, right? You could look at the financial metrics and see what's going right or wrong, but then having that ability to dig deeper and trying to find the root cause and then work closely with the business to find the solution. Not only it's okay to point out the problems, but it's even better to work with them and together craft the path forward. And that's something I really enjoy.
All right, so we saw the announcement that you were going to be the new CFO. Michael McMurray was going to retire back in November. You took over as CFO on March 1. So you had a few months there.
Correct.
What can you tell us about what that transition process was like as you got yourself prepared to take on this new role?
It was wonderful that I had the time to overlap with Michael, almost 2.5 months, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. There's a lot of, strategy, of course, working capital, cash, EBITDA, and LYB is going through a great transformation, right? Since Peter arrived, the new strategy pushing into CLCS, the expansions that we've announced on the Middle East, Flex 2 that was announced a couple of weeks ago. And there are just so many things and topics that finance is a key enabler.
Would you say that's the biggest change in taking on this role is just the scope of it? How big the scope is of what you're doing?
Yeah,
now?
that and then having the full enterprise view, right? When you're in the different segment or different function, you're very focused on obviously delivering and doing a very good job for that segment or function. But now stepping back and having the overall view and the holistic view, connecting all the dots, that is it's fundamental for the success in this role.
I think it's interesting that you came on to LYB around the same time as Peter became CEO. So how much has that helped you to really be on the front end of it and be here for Peter's entire tenure that you guys started at the same time?
Correct. Yeah. So, for me, it has been great because obviously he joined a few months before, but he was able to set the strategy and the tone and really transform LYB, right? We're much more present. The push for circularity, for sustainability has been great and put us on the forefront as a leader in that space. And it's been really fun also to being able to help build that along with him and the entire executive committee.
I think whenever there's somebody of your position that's, we can get advice from, people are always curious. What is the career advice for anyone looking to move up in their career? What has really helped you that you'd want to pass on to someone else?
I would say be very, very curious. To me, that has been a great asset. Try to learn as much as possible, ask questions, help people. I'm also someone that trying to be in constant cool panic. So
what is cool panic?
So when things go wrong, instead of just running like a chicken without a head, just try to figure out the reasons, stay calm, and find the root cause, and then learn from that and avoid it in the future. But just take different assignments, as I said. If you want to be a CFO, you don't have to be on the finance track your whole career. Take roles in procurement, in business, go to a different side, could take an international assignment. You don't need all these things, but if you have them, just makes you a much better professional.
I like that. All right, so now that you're CFO, what are your immediate priorities?
I think I would continue, obviously, the talent development. I've been very fortunate to, being an LYB sort of employee and being the first CFO, actually, that is internally recruited. And I would like to keep that tradition. And for that, obviously, we need to build a strong bench. And I'm also very happy and grateful for Michael and all the work he did, because he truly built a very strong finance team. But we also, as I said, need to bring people from the business, from manufacturing, from R&D, that if they're interested, they can also have the mobility and the opportunities. I think I will also make a big push into digital tools, trying to enable that and accelerate the work and the thinking that we do around our strategy and analysis, and just making life easier for all our employees and finance function. And just in general, enable and help Peter and LYB achieve the goals and strategies that we've put forward, which are good, very ambitious, so will require quite a bit of work.
What about future plans or initiatives? What are you most excited about?
We've announced Middle East joint ventures. As I said, we have Flex, circularity, CLCS, that business has a lot of potential and work, and the market is being developed. It's a big startup within LYB. So I think really steering and making sure we have all the right resources that we prioritize, and obviously manage our cash flow and resources in the appropriate way to make sure that we can get all the priorities going. And that prioritization will be very important have and get it right.
How do you envision the financial strategy of LYB really evolving under your leadership?
I think, there are some key principles that we've established also during Capital Markets Day, and we will continue to do that. LYB has a very strong balance sheet, investment grade. We have great liquidity, very good cash conversion, and all those things are the base for how we operate and should be the priorities on how we move going forward. Personally, I want to make sure that we have a best-in-class finance organization and that we can compare it not only across chemicals, but industrials and any other sector. And anybody from the outside can say, LYB is really going through a positive transformation, and finance is a key enabler and a world-class organization. And for that, as I mentioned before, developing our talents, having the right tools, and being closely aligned with our strategy will be key.
Before I let you go, one final question. Any specific projects or goals that you're excited about, passionate about, that you'd like to share with our listeners?
So passionate about continuing to develop the talent pipeline at LYB, not only in finance, but the entire organization. That is something that is dear to my heart. So I will continue to be very purposeful and diligent on that. And then, of course, just helping LYB achieve its goals. As we mentioned before, Peter has laid out a very aggressive and ambitious agenda, and I want to make sure that finance and the entire LYB organization can help enable that.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Agustin. Best of luck in the new role.
Thank you.
Congrats once again.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the LYB podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And for the latest updates, be sure to check out lyb.com.